What is going on, people? Welcome back into the channel. Merry Christmas. Happy Boxing Day. What in the world is Boxing Day? That's the first thing. I could totally look that up, but I'm going to use my wonderful followers and subscribers to tell me. Other than the fact that you're binge drinking and watching football and whatnot, which, by the way, one Prem game on is kind of woke nonsense, but we are lucky to have the entire championship slate, League One, League Two, etc. So, Coventry versus Swansea City, Boxing Day, December 26th, 3 p.m. afternoon kickoff. Good little atmosphere at the CVS today. CBS, sorry. I'm not cutting this at all, as we know. Coventry get the win 1-0. It wasn't pretty. It wasn't sexy. It was hard fought. First half, I think the guys still had food in their bellies from Christmas Day, because what in the world was that first half? Let's break it all down. We'll talk about the lineup, we'll talk about Swansea, we'll talk about Coventry, we'll talk about what's next, and we'll actually just look at a couple other results that impact the table, because obviously, as we know, Coventry City are still in first place. Looks like they may be a little more than 6 points ahead, depending on if Middlesbrough got a goal in the last couple of minutes or not. So, let's talk about the game. Lineup-wise, Haji was actually dropped for Sims, which didn't make a difference. I mean, Sims didn't do much today. He had that one chance that he needed to bury. I would just like people to keep the same energy with Sims. I mean, I don't know if it was in the game plan or not, but the press was pretty non-existent today. They seemed okay with sitting back and kind of letting Swansea control the possession, which was a bit surprising to me. It really deflated the crowd and deflated the atmosphere in that first half. If it weren't for that Mason Clark goal, which, came from a deflection off a long throw. Great job by, I believe, Wolfie heading it on. And, I mean, how did he finish that? Off balance, spins around, and just bangs it up for 90. That was a great finish. He was the man of the match today. I'll just get straight to the point. Mason Clark was the best player on the pitch today. No question. We know how he goes. Towards the end of the game, he starts to flare out. But he was involved from the first minute, and he was just so just involved and hard to tackle, hard to dispossess, was winning the possession back in the final third. Just, he was an absolute menace today. He looked really good. He had a couple other chances that looked like he could have put away, but, luck of the draw. Sometimes you don't put him away, sometimes you do put him away. There's one late in the game where Sakamoto crossed it. He wasn't expecting the ball to get to them, and he laid it off to Haji. Haji couldn't put it away. Haji in this game came on in the 70th minute-ish with Eccles. Came off for Rudy and Sims. The Rudy one was a little bit interesting today. I think that's a hot topic, Rudy, recently. I would say he took a step forward today. I know, obviously, he didn't get on the goal or assist sheet, but definitely a step forward. Wonder if he's a bit of a confidence player since he's coming back and just kind of working his way back into the squad, because if I'm recalling correctly, the last time that he played very, very good was against Charlton at home. And he kind of felt the same today, where he just had the confidence and the fans behind him. And, he had, I guess you could say, for a lack of better term, just the courage to, attempt those difficult passes, to drift out wide and use skill moves and whatnot. Because when he was linking up with EMC and even a couple times with Sakamoto down the right side, I thought that they looked pretty good today. So I'm happy with the step forward for Rudy. It's not, anywhere near where we, know he can be, but it's a step in the right direction, because it's going to be a slow process. And in a critical time like this, where, obviously the squad's thin, but we have so many games in such a short amount of days, we do need him at his best, especially if, we're going to not have much striker involvement today. The strikers just were not very involved at all. Sims, it is what it is with Sims. I already said it. I know he needed to put that chance away. It was a great save by the keeper, but it is what it is. But just didn't offer much today. Haji, couple shots that were blocked. I did like that he dropped deeper, whereas Sims was kind of pressed up against the center backs, which you in theory would think that's good, because it's going to give Radoni more room to dribble, which it did, but it just didn't convert to goals. So I know, maybe you try that again for another game and it works, but I mean, I guess I can't complain, right? I mean, I've said that time and time again this year. This kind of feels similar to the Bristol City game, where it's like, we didn't play great. I mean, we played better in that game than we did in this game, but we got the job done at the end of the day. So, limping Coventry City are, staggering through December, as all the pundits are saying. But at the end of the day, we've gotten, 7 points out of our last 3 games. So, who cares? We're winning games. Sometimes you need those, especially in a season where you're trying to get promoted. You need these gritty wins where, last year I bet Cov would have lost this game. They wouldn't have lost this game. They would have drew in this game. So, I'm not going to complain. I do want to talk about Bidwell. Let me just quickly look through my notes and see if there's anything else. Oh, yeah. The first note that I wrote down, great start finally. MV crosses. Wait, I can't read my own writing, but the second minute of the game, down the left-hand side, EMC Rudy link up. Rudy is through, down the left-hand side, into the box. Cross it into the box. Sims isn't there. No big deal. I write down, okay, I'm happy. This is the first time in a while we've genuinely started good. And then the next 35 minutes, Swansea dominate possession. By the way, if you saw my pre-match analysis of this game, I did mention that Swansea loved taking shots from outside the box and then like to hold possession. They actually came to the CBS and held possession, which is pretty wild. I don't know if we've ever seen that this season. The closest we may have been was, I want to say maybe Birmingham City, but then they went down to 10 men, so it wouldn't have been them. I don't know, maybe Hull. Probably the Hull game, if I remember correctly. It definitely wasn't the Norwich City game. I know we held crazy possession in that one. But the first chance of the game was to us, and then we just don't see the ball for the next 30 minutes. It deflated the crowd. It deflated me. I was honestly pissed. And then we got saved by EMC. He has been on fire. It was, I like how things kind of changed throughout the year. At the beginning of the year on the attack, you could say Haji was carrying. Then as time went on, it slowly shifted over to Brandon Thompson-Sante. Then he goes down. And who else steps up? The man on the left side, Efron Mason Clark. How good has he been? I know we already talked about him in this game, but I have to just say it again. I mean, without him on the pitch in this game, we absolutely do not score. Well, no shit, we don't score. But come on, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. We don't edit these things. I've said it time and time again. I just like to do it before any other thoughts get in and convolute the way I think. So, also, please subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel. We just hit 1,500 subs. Thank you so much. Should have said this early in the video, but whatever. Oh, yeah, I want to talk about Swansea City. They do not look like a team in 20th place or whatever it is. They were in 19th before this game started. Vitor Matos is a very good manager. He's got experience. This is only his second head coaching job, but he developed under Klopp at Liverpool, and he also had some time at Porto. Very well spoken, very classy guy. Has a good sense of humor. I listened to his pre-match interview, and just to add on top of that, the Death Row Records collab with Swansea. I know it's the Snoop Dogg whatever, is so cold. I heard from Swansea fans that it's really expensive, but I'd buy it if I were a Swans fan. I don't know. I'd maybe just take out a loan. That's what they want us to do nowadays as normal people watching football. Stamenic got an early yellow. I know he was supposed to come to Cov. Bit of a dirty challenge. I thought the game was going to get a little bit chippy. Kind of settled down. Now we need to talk about Bidwell. That was the big debate going into this game, who was going to step in for Jay Da Silva. It was Bidwell. A lot of us predicted it. It's kind of funny. It's kind of ironic in a way because people were calling for Sims to start, and we were like, Frank has his guys. Like, Frank is always going to start Haji. And then we also thought, maybe Brow was going to come in because Brow had a really good appearance against Southampton. But Frank stuck to his guns with Bidwell. But then he finally decided to make the switch to Sims, which ultimately didn't cost us at all or anything. But I feel like Bidwell was more focused on knocking people over. Like, bro thought he was in the UFC. And there were a couple times where he got caught out of position. And it's technically not his fault because we play such a high line. But the thing that concerned me was that then Matt Grimes had to, instead of being in the middle of the pitch, shift over to that left side. And if they were able to break and get past Matt Grimes, they could pass the ball into the middle of the pitch and there'd be no one there. Because Torp is not always going to be back in the box. Yes, he's quote-unquote a box-to-box, but you can't expect him to always be there or else you're going to leave Radoni in no man's land, which he did get left in no man's land a couple times because Swansea were holding a lot of possession in this game. They held a crazy amount. I know the ending was 46 to Cov, 54% to us, but in the first half it had to have been even worse than that. By the way, Middlesbrough have drawn to Blackburn. Great result for them. So now Cov's at 8 points clear with 51 points at the halfway mark of the season. You absolutely love to see that. Now, back to the point. The ADHD is hitting. They had 55% possession in the first half, and then they had 54% possession in the second half, Swansea. Wow. They really did come in and hold possession. They had a higher XG than Cov. A lot of that XG is probably coming from two chances I can think of. First one was early in the first half. It was the 8th minute. It was a run made in between Milan Van Ewijk and Luke Wolfenden, which Wolfenden and Kitching, I believe that was, correct me if I'm wrong, the combo that started against Wrexham on Halloween. They looked a little out of whack at times. I don't know. I just don't have the chemistry. I felt like Latty and Wolfie had more chemistry, but Kitching was back. You're obviously going to put him back in the lineup. Bobby was out again. Who knows if he's good or not. Hopefully he can be back for the Ipswich game on Monday. They drew today as well. So Cov gained a couple points. So they gained 2 points on Middlesbrough. They gained 1 point on Millwall and Ipswich. Beautiful stuff. So he made that run down the left side, crossed into the box. Wolfie is just getting caught flat-footed, but then he recovered beautifully and was able to track down Vopatnik before the shot made it to Rushworth. But that shot was 100% going in if he didn't block it, so he saved a goal right there. Then in the second half, really nice cross down the left side from Galbraith. How does that work? Galbraith was playing as a right back. I think, he got swapped into the midfield later in the game, and then that's when he just started releasing, and he had a pretty good game today. He's obviously, one of their bright young stars that they're more likely they're not going to sell on for profit, along with, the likes of Vipotnik, Inwisa. I don't know if Inwisa's young, but he had a good game when he came on today. And I think it was Cullen who, it was a high ball, so he was kind of in no man's land. Where was he going to use his head or his foot? He decided to go foot because it was about waist high, and he just skied it over the bar, but we got very lucky. That's kind of the tune of today, is it's similar to the Bristol City, where we probably should have conceded a goal, but the top of the table, Coventry voodoo continues. It's not voodoo. You know what I mean? It's just, grinding out results. Oh, yeah, I feel like I say a lot. That's going to be my resolution next year, is to not say because it's not good. Anyways, final thought. Man of the match, Mason Clark. Ipswich Town on Monday. It's a very odd time. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff, 1 p.m. my time. That'd be an interesting one. Home at the CBS. 3 points. Maybe not the momentum builder that you would necessarily want to see. I was kind of hoping for a get-right game here where we came out and we dropped, 2 or 3 goals. It didn't happen, but we win. What else can I say? I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Boxing Day. I know we've got a nice weekend ahead of us. Hopefully it's nice out there. I'm downstate at my parents' house. This is not my bedroom, by the way, because I feel like there's going to be people that are watching me for the first time. This is not my bedroom. If you couldn't tell, this is a Bermuda flag. I know they got a little bit of the England flag. So, thank you. Please subscribe if you're new. Ipswich will be a very, very interesting battle. Keep an eye out for Below the Prem podcast. We've got a Boxing Day recap coming out on Saturday morning. And then my match preview for Ipswich, which we just did a couple weeks ago. We'll be doing it again. Obviously, everything's going to be updated for the Monday affair. Thanks a lot, and peace.